Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Between the Sharks. On today's episode, we are going to try to take this headliner from WLS Headliners and get it into this car. I am not looking forward to it. I'm scared of fabric. Chevy. So, pulled the interior out to do the wiring, got the wiring done. It's kind of sat. I've done other projects and lollygagged and hesitated on this because I suck raw eggs at fabric. Like, I'm intimidated by it. I don't understand it. It kind of freaks me out. And when I say I'm bad at a lot of stuff, don't get me wrong here, but like fabric, I fundamentally I don't understand. Like, it's wiggly, but it's solid. To me, it's like the fifth element. I just don't get it. So, putting a headliner in here was going to be the next step. I figured since I had the interior out, I may as well try it. I found an inexpensive, is what we'll call it, headliner. I ordered this from WLS Headliners. They're here in Georgia, I think. I'll try to put a link. Super happy with it. It is a modern headliner material. Your eyes are not deceiving you. This is as close to white as they have, which is not quite white. You can kind of see the difference in this rotten vinyl to that. But for my purposes and my inability, I think this is an option. I got to show you where we are, because I personally am kind of shocked by what's happening inside the car at this point. I can't fold a t-shirt or hardly put pairs of socks together. So anything that involves interior work that's supposed to actually look nice, it's not my bag. But I'm not building a show car, so I'd rather have my janky failure represented in this car than somebody else's work. So on that note, let's take a look at it's not that janky yet. It's just not. So let's take a look at it. Dun 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 dun. Anyway, I am shocked that we are here. So, yes, we are a long, long way from done. No question about that. But, given my general inability and fear of this material, the fact that it is up and doesn't have 28 handprints, greasy ones, and it's not torn in 6 places is... The fact that we haven't completely failed yet is quite a thing for me. So let's talk about it. They don't do an OEM material, which is fine, and they don't do a vinyl, which is probably what I would have chosen if I had all of my choices in the world were any good at this stuff. But I'm not. So to get to this point, literally all I did was put the bows in, which remarkably, after 20 years, I still had, and they were labeled in order from front to back. Pretty cool. So, I shoved the headliner bows in the headliner bow holes, and I somehow still had these clips, and I put them in the clips, and the bow just slides in, threads through, let's go over here, maybe we can see better, threads through, where are we? Little fabric loops, and slides in. So the fact that I'm able to do this really means literally anybody can do this. Vinyl, I don't think, is anywhere near as forgiving, but I think this was all under 200 bucks with some wind lace and some extra material, which I got because we are dealing with a chopped top. So the glass no longer does the curvy thing. Oh yeah, there's my dirty finger marks of this is what the glass used to do on a 54, but this is 4849 Plymouth Dodge. If anybody's super curious, there's an abandoned car in the woods that I cut this frame out of and then had to find the glass. Maybe we can go on an adventure and see if that car is still there. I gotta stretch it this way, and then you gotta stretch it to either side. I might be able to, sort of get this okay. And did I just do that, for crying out loud? I don't know, probably. How do I do this? My hand is clean, I think. So then, as the fabric as I understand it, gets stretched this away and gets pulled tight. You trim it and pull it tight, and it staples, well, there's my shadow, it staples to this, which is the original tack strip. Some of it is still in this car. Here's some here. Any of it that's missing, I pulled out, and I don't really know why. But this just needs to be good enough to hold a staple. So I got to figure out how to fill in the missing pieces. I've actually looked, and I'm not finding anything quite like what this is. I know there are upholstery tack strips out there, and I've scoured YouTube for it, but I did come across this stuff, which is rubber and cork model railroad train, like track liner. I think this is N scale. Model trains are kind of neat. I don't have any, but I used to. So I might be able to glue that stuff in there, and that'll hold a staple, which should be more than enough. And I am putting a thin coat of Gorilla Glue because it expands thin, and then I'm holding it in place with some masking tape, and I'll let it sit up overnight and see how it does. I don't have much of this, but I think what I'll do is go ahead and get this one window done, let it sit overnight, see how it turns out, and then maybe I gotta go on a quest and find some more of this. And we're back. It looks the same, but it's a different day. It's the next day, which makes it Friday. Woo, party! Not really, you know, we're gonna see if we can get further on this headliner. I went to the nearest hobby store, which turned out to be more of like a, you know, kind of lame craft store. One of the things I was looking for was more of that model railroad track bed, because honestly I thought it was going to work pretty well. We'll duck in there and see how it's doing, but it definitely seems like it'll hold a staple and would take glue, so that's what we needed. Didn't have that. I went to the upholstery lady. She was not very nice, and I went and asked for tack strip, and she knew what I was talking about, but said they did not carry it. So, but here's what I came up with. Balsa wood. It is bendy enough that it'll take most of the curves that have to happen that are left, that are pretty gentle. It'll take a staple. That's good. You can glue to it. That's good. So that meets all the parameters, and it was 99 cents and available. Might be a genius. Might be onto something. Using the old thinker. All right, about to pull this tape I put up last night. Dog's here to help. Dog, are you here to help? Okay. Dog's super helpful. Oh, she's standing in front of the light there. All right, so let's see. Well, hot dog. Look at that. I mean, original stuff, not original stuff. I think we're cooking with peanut oil, guys. Unfortunately, I don't have any more of that, and that's what the balsa wood's for. So we'll take a look at the spots that need it. We'll get them glued in and move on with our lives. All right, so the popsicle sticks are gluing in the places that the original cardboard tack strip was missing. So it's just like kindergarten, popsicle sticks, glue, let the glue dry, and then we'll be able to move forward on that. Literally just need something that you can stretch and staple the fabric to that will be covered by trim. Long story short is I could chase my tail and I could call restoration companies and I could probably get something from obsolete Chevy or Eastwood or somebody to like replicate the existing thing that's in there. But I don't have to. It doesn't matter. I literally just need something that fits, takes a staple, and holds the fabric, because that's all it's going to do. No one's ever going to see it, and I don't think their products are going to be any better than that piece of balsa wood that I put in there. They have given me a ton of extra material here, so once I kind of have it right-ish and relatively centered right to left on the car, I'm going to have to sneak in here and trim, like, that loop is about right for that bow. Back here we've just got mountains of material, so I'm gonna have to trim the loop, which scares me because I don't know how to undo that. There's no undo. And then that should all pull down, and I'll be able to fasten it somehow to something. I don't know if I'll have to make like a panel to kind of glue it to, or how that's really gonna work back there. But we have not reached a point of total failure and have a better shot than I ever expected, because that's really what the roof used to look like. Surface rust and Dynamat. So even if I really cheese this might be better. Hopefully I didn't just jinx it. Back here, we got to get all this stretch tube to go that way till it's flat. And then everything on the other side, we got to get to go that way until it's up in the windshield. And I got just enough to get by on this panel up here, which also staples to a tack strip along the edge, and then the trim will close all that in, I guess. I'm a little scared to do it, but I think it's time. I gotta start trimming the loops on these. If I do it clean, maybe I can sew them back up if I have to, but I don't see why that would be a thing, you know? It's real bunchy like, and I'm out of room. So I don't know the best way to do it, because I do want it to follow all the way over, so maybe, I mean, I guess the answer is a little bit at a time. Well, I'm real bad at this. Makes me nervous. If it was metal, you know I could make another piece. If it was wood, I know I could make another piece. But it's neither of those. We're already getting better. I don't want to go too far, but spinning this around, it's a little different on this side. There's a strip under the windshield that we need to use the stapler for, which is under the camera. Oh. It's right here, so that'll pull tight that way. And then on the sides, we'll look into this a little closer maybe, but the sides just get kind of pushed into shape here. So stretching it forward and then out seems like priority number one up here. All right. So I'm going to trim this. I bet people that know what they're doing use scissors and not a razor blade, so don't confuse me with one of those folks, because for those unbaptized in the stab by screwdriver world, bluntish sharp objects hurt so much more than real sharp objects when it comes to stabbing. All right, so I guess I'm going to trim this, but I might be able to go back over and double up the fabric here, staple it once again up in this joint. So what that means is leave a little bit of extra on it. In fact, we're gonna leave a lot extra on it. Intimidation factor 11. I know I've got to cut this out. Let's turn the light off. Let's see what we can see. Hey, look at that. Thanks, son. So just remembering, I didn't put a bow in this one based on the chop and all that stuff and the different roof line not workulating with that. So I guess, part of me wonders if I should just try to cut an oval out and leave like, some inches, all the way around the window. Because this thing has some Jabberwocky teeth in here too, so I guess that's how the Dodge did it. And then, this will kind of, this might just work. No whammies, no whammies. All right. Butt pucker engage. All right, it's difficult to actually show you guys inside the car, but I'm going to call this headliner a resounding success, at least for me. So let's do a quick review. I definitely cheesed it in some spots. I don't know if you can see this, but there's some spots where it's kind of twisted up on the headliner bows, and I think that's an artifact of it getting tightened while the headliner bow still had some like rusty texture that had been painted over. It's still got some bubbles where I guess I could have stretched it a little further, and it still has some wrinkles that need to be steamed out, which I think will come out. So I've never done a headliner before. I've always been super intimidated by doing a headliner. The fact that this came out as well as it did on my first try, when I just suck raw eggs at anything fabric related. I just don't get it. So this is incredible. The other thing that's kind of incredible, this is a WLS headliner. That's the company. I just searched on the interwebs for a 54 Chevrolet headliner. This company came up. Not only was it 200 bucks or less, they got it to me in 2 days, and they had every model of 54 Chevy available. So hardtop, 2-door sedan, 4-door sedan, and what I found really interesting, because of the way this is chopped and the back glass is smaller in the way that it's shaped, I ordered one for a 150 business coupe, which is a 53, 54, mostly 53 oddball. You know, the negative sides of it. There are a couple. One is the material is foamy, more modern headliner material. It's not the cotton that you would have found originally, and it's not vinyl or something like that, like you'd see in a show car. I'm not going to pick it apart. It's an improvement for me. I was able to do it myself, and I didn't completely cheese it. So like, we're already ahead. I don't think I could have done a vinyl one anywhere near as well as this. Issue number 2, if you're going to call it that, it's kind of an issue. This one's a little bit more tricky. They do not make a headliner in white. This is as close to white as you can get, and it is a gray off-white. For this car, fine. The car's painted gray with a white accent, black and white interior with green seat covers, whatever. I'm not splitting hairs over it. This is a massive, massive improvement from where I was. Somebody like picks this apart, you know, well, that's just what some people do. I really don't care. If you want to walk around a car show and find the things you don't like about a car, then man, somebody ought to buy you a hot dog and just cheer your day up. That said, I think this is a massive success. I would recommend these products to anybody out there, especially if you're on a budget, because this is so much better than I could have done with anything else. And, you know, if you're new to this type of stuff like I am, there's a little bit more confidence when you're only going to completely screw up a $200 product versus a much more expensive vinyl headliner. 200 bucks isn't nothing, but relatively speaking, and I have no idea what an upholstery shop would have charged to make something, because nobody works on this car but me. So there's that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you got something out of it, because this is something that intimidated me a lot. But yeah, you know, it's not perfect, but it's so much better. Cheers. We'll see you next time.